Personal Conflict Styles by Laura Nelson and Cassandra St. Louis. There are several ways that people act when their needs are not met. A person can be non-assertive, directly aggressive, passive-aggressive, indirect, or assertive. Each approach is very different from the others. This presentation will take a look at these personal conflict styles and determine which one is best. Non-assertive behavior occurs when a person is unwilling to enter conflict. It is surprisingly common. Non-assertive behavior has three forms: non-assertion, where one cannot express thoughts or feelings; avoidance, where a person doesn't want to confront the situation; and accommodation, where a person gives into a situation rather than meet their own needs. Although this style usually makes people angry and frustrated, it can be a good thing when sharing your opinion has great risks, such as being fired. A good example, Milhouse from The Simpsons. Direct aggression occurs when a person bullies or manipulates to get their way. It can occur through character attacks, competence attacks, physical appearance attacks, maledictions, teasing, and more. These attacks can hurt or humiliate a person, and it can make them very defensive. Direct aggression can actually decrease the effectiveness of a relationship. Here's an example. Porky Pig from the Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show. Passive aggression is when a person expresses hostility in an obscure or subtle way. People who are passive aggressive are better known as crazy makers because although they are expressing their aggression, they still keep a front of kindness. They can accomplish this through various ways: avoidance, guilt, humor, and the stereotypical note leaving. Crazy making does have its risks. Sometimes people won't get the message and it won't work. Sometimes when people do get the message, they feel manipulated and then retaliate. In most instances, passive aggression leaves people confused or frustrated, and then they stoop to the same level and attack back. A perfect example is Marie Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Indirect communication is the most common way people approach situations and occurs when the person gets what they want without getting the other person upset. It occurs when we want to protect ourselves and when we want to get the message across smoothly instead of being bluntly honest. The disadvantage, however, of this approach is that your message might not come across the right way, or the person doesn't take the hint, so it lacks instruction and clarity. An example of indirect communication is Jim from the TV show The Office. In The Office, Jim is an intelligent salesperson who spends the majority of his time conspiring with his coworker and wife Pam to engineer pranks on another coworker, Dwight. When speaking to his coworkers, Jim always expresses his needs and wants through a joking context so that the people don't get upset at him. However, this could be why he is not taken seriously in some situations until later episodes when he starts to take on more of a professional role. Assertion is a positive form of communication and allows you to speak your mind directly and honestly, which may bring about the greatest chances of success in the end. An example of assertion is Olivia Benson from Law & Order SVU. In Law & Order SVU, Olivia Benson is a key character and delivers her thoughts, feelings, and needs in a calm tone to make the victims feel comfortable and not feel as if their self-esteem is being attacked. There are several factors that need to be considered if you want the most success out of the conversation with someone. The first is the relationship. What kind of relationship do you have with the person you are communicating with? If it's your boss, it's not likely you will be assertive because it might cost you your job. The second is the situation. Your situation determines what kind of communication style should be used. Parents find it more effective towards the child's behavior when they use direct aggression. The third is the other person. When thinking about communication, we need to think about the other person in a situation. And last is the goals. Before going into the conversation with someone, we need to make sure our goals are in line for what we want to come about after the conversation. The problem you are having with a person might not be worth the conflict you will have after the conversation is complete. It might just be best to take in what the other person is saying and take constructive criticism from it.